Let's hear it for Mark.
In the 1990s, I ran what's called a residential treatment center in this lovely town called Dobbs Ferry, New York. It was for 96 teenagers, all who came from high poverty areas of New York City. And a lot of these kids didn't have families to live with, and a lot of them already had arrest records. They had been drug dealers or they had been gang members. And I loved working with those kids. And they lived on the campus there. We had a school. And when I first got there was no organized activities, so they were always bored and getting into trouble. So I said, let's start a basketball team. We'll start a girls' team and a boys' team. We'll play area high schools. So the girls' team, they did pretty well. They won about half their games. The boys just got creamed. They would play area high schools, lose by 30 or 40 points. They were playing against kids who had played together for years. So we're at the second to last game of the season. It's an away game. I went down to the gym with my son. He was about 6, just to see the boys off and wish them well. So they're standing by the van. I said, guys, you better get going. You're going to be late. They said, our coach is in here. Will you drive us? So I said, well, even if I drive you, who's going to coach you? They said, well, can you coach us? So I said, I've never coached basketball. I don't know anything about basketball. But I felt bad, so I said, all right, get in the van. My son's with me. So we're going up the driveway, and I see our recreation director. Her name is Terry Johnson. She said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to coach these kids in basketball. She said, move over. I'm going with you. So I'm like, great. I just got to drive. We go to Yonkers, and it's a rough area of Yonkers. It's a high-crime area of Yonkers, but I've worked in high-crime areas my whole life. That doesn't faze me. We go in this gymnasium, and it's packed. There are hundreds of fans, their fans in the stands. And we go in, their team is warming up, and their coach comes to me, a thin, skinny Hispanic guy, very nice. And he says, okay, we're going to play 4 quarters. We have a referee. Great. The game begins, and as with all the other games, we're immediately getting killed. We're down by 10 points, 15 points, 20 points. Miss Johnson is furious. She's like, I'm going to talk to our coach when we get back. He's obviously not teaching these kids anything. So we make it to the half. Their fans are ecstatic, laughing, cheering. We get to the half, and Terry takes them aside. She makes some adjustments, teaches them some new plays. So the second half begins, and for the first time the whole season, we're playing well. We're starting to catch up. We're not down by 20. We're down by 15. Then we're down by 12. Now we're down by 8 points. This is great. And I suddenly hear this bang, smash. And I look out, and one of the fans from their stands has taken a folding metal chair and thrown it out onto the court. So for the first time, I looked into those stands, and I did not see one what I would call responsible adult in those stands. And they're not laughing anymore. They look pissed. And I'm like, this could be a hot mess. So anyway, the game continues. There's about 8 seconds left in the third period. One of our kids, I still remember his name, Kareem, he comes down. He does this like Michael Jordan, down, swoops, dunks the ball. The period ends. We're down by 2 points. The ref takes the ball. He holds it in the air, and he goes, game over. So I ran out. I said, game over? There's a whole period left, and we're catching up. And he looks at me and says, mister, if you know what's good for you, this game is over. So now there's mayhem on the court, and their coach, who'd been such a nice guy when I first got there, comes up to me, and he has this terrified look on his face. And he says, where's your van? I said, it's down the street. He goes, please get your players out of here. Please get out of here now. So anyway, again, my son is with me. He's 6, so I'm grabbing players. Let's go, let's go, let's go. So now we're standing outside on the sidewalk in front of this place, and I'm trying to figure out if we have everyone. And I look up, and I can see that these fans are forming a circle around us. And one of them takes a beer bottle and he smashes it right at my feet with the glass flying. And when I saw that, I just yelled, "Run!" So we just tore down that block. I lost my son's hand for a second. I was like, "My son!" And one of the players is like, "I have him, Mr. Redmond." He's carrying him like a loaf of bread. So we get to the van, and back then you didn't go beep, beep. You had to put the key in the door. So I'm fumbling with I can't, and the boys are like, "Open the van, Mr. Redmond, open the van." And one kid says, "I wish I had my gun with me." So I finally opened the van, we piled into the van, and now I'm like, "Where's Miss Johnson? Where's Terry Johnson?" And one boy goes, "There she is. She's standing out in front of the gym where we just were. Drive on the sidewalk, Mr. Redmond." And I drove right up on the sidewalk with that van. Just pulled him as fast as I could get. Open the door, Terry jumps in. So I put the pedal to the metal, and we got the hell out of there. So anyway, I drove back to Dobbs Ferry. I found some Italian restaurant, and I bought a bunch of pizzas and sodas. And the boys were all like, "Oh, man, we would have won. We would have won if we kept playing, you know." And I'm thinking to myself, guys, we won because we're alive. We're alive, and we got out of that hot mess, so we won. Thank you.
Keep it going for Mark.